Today we're going to rehab an old airplane using Weldwood. Let's talk about that. Okay everyone, let's just get started with this quick little project here. It's pretty much all built. There's just a couple repair things that we need to do, and I'm going to be using Weldwood for that. A lot of you guys don't know about Weldwood. You can get this at your local Home Depot. Very cheap, very inexpensive. It's just, it's got a brownish color to it, so it's not the most desirable for people that are, trying to make their airplanes look really nice. This one's pretty beat up, so I don't really mind that it might have some of this brownish liquid on it. But this is going to be comparable to foam tack. And if you guys have ever bought foam tack, it's expensive. It's probably $11 to $14 a bottle. This is $4, under $5 for a bottle. It's just slightly thinner and a little bit easier to handle, I think. But it's really good for all types of foams, EPO, EPP. You do, if you're ever going to use any type of cement on any of your airplanes, make sure you put a little test dab on the foam before you use it, because some foams will react different than others, even different EPOs. Some EPOs will get eaten by this stuff. So actually, if you take this apart, it didn't stick very good because this is just kind of beer cooler type of foam. It's very, very kind of pitted out. It looks like it was starting to get eaten. Now, this is going to be very, very different than, which I just slathered on a bit of this glue on the very bottom of the fuselage here, and it has not eaten away at the EPO whatsoever. And from my experience, you don't need to be prepping the surfaces at all for using this foam. Even if it's got mold release on it, it tends to work really good because it's a contact cement. And I'll go over what a contact cement means in just a second. Okay, so the repairs that I need to make to this airplane are very simple. I just need to glue on this aileron right here, which has cracked the EPP here. And I need to put a new servo horn here along with a new rod that is missing. I'm going to go ahead and take out this landing gear for right now. From what I understand, the airplane has a new motor in it, and it takes a 1300 3S in the front, so I'm just putting that there to kind of balance everything out. The only minor thing I really need to do is just switch out this plug to an XT60 because they're superior. We'll get this thing out and we'll start to fly it, but I'll go ahead and show you the repair process on this aileron right now. I'm going to go ahead and take off this piece of tape that we have here. This looks like the blender that helps to tape things together. This is actually a really good tape, mainly for EPO foam, but when you get to EPP, it tends to be not quite as good sticking because nothing really sticks to EPP very much. EPP, if you guys don't know, is called EPP because it's called expanded polypropylene, which is a very, very strong substance. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go ahead and just take the rest of this. Let's see, should I break off the rest of this or should I just leave it there, run some glue in, and just stick it back together after a bit? I think I'll just do fine if I just run some glue on the edges of the two sides here. I'll probably on this wingtip here go ahead and run a little bit of the glue just on the top here so that it saturates in there and strengthens that hinge there. Okay, so I would recommend if you are working above your workstation that you want to keep clean, put some paper towels down. And like I said, I'm just going to really, really saturate this hinge here. Okay, so let's get the other side. So I'm just going to kind of tilt this up so I can get the glue all the way on this edge. I really want it to be super saturated. As I mentioned before, the EPP is very thirsty, it's very porous, so it's going to take a lot of this glue to get stuck to get back together here. Okay, I'll saturate the top of this wing here where I have the part that hasn't broken off yet. Okay, let's put this back together here. We'll recap so we don't knock the ball over. Ask me how I know that I should do that. Alright, so I'm going to put the hinge together here for about a couple seconds here. Should probably take a little bit with the paper towel. So if you have the excess, you can actually take a little bit of this and just kind of work it into the wing here. Okay, so I'm going to take it apart. You can see the little stringies there. Hopefully you guys can see that on camera. Put it together one more time here. And I'll pull it apart. I'm just kind of really working it, just kind of making sure the glue is just saturated all into that hinge, and we're going to have a nice glue hinge in just a moment. So I'm going to push this apart, and I'm going to take, just going to leave it down like this. And so I am going to wait 10 minutes, and then we will put this back together. So as we're letting this dry, I just wanted to mention that when you have a lot of EPP planes, they're very, very strong to impact, but they are not very strong with ripping forces. That's why with the racing wings and whatnot, we laminate them with lamination. But another tactic that you can actually use, and a lot of guys have used, is actually taking a little bit of this Weldwood or foam tack or goop and gooping the very leading edges of the wings here or the front cowl section of this type of airplane, because this has all the weight on it right here. It tends to have a tendency, if you crash, to actually rip the EPP, and then you're kind of sunk. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the aileron here. I'm going to line it up really closely. What I'm looking for is right here and here to make sure that all my surfaces look nice and flat. So I'm going to push it together, and I'm just going to push and hold. And any little fingers of this hinge that are sticking up, I'm going to go ahead and push together. And that is basically it. So we're going to have a nice floppy hinge again. So there it is. So let's take care of the rest of the airplane and get it hooked up. Okay guys, everything finished up here. I went ahead and put on a new arm here. I measured it from center of the servo to the end here. That's the same as this side. So hopefully we'll get the same amount of travel. I happen to have one of these left over from one of my Tech 1 wings, which is cool. I made this little rod here out of some rod I had. I went ahead and just bound up my Turnigy i10 because it was just here on the bench from my Avios C130. As you can see, I'm using the same receiver. And anyway, everything works. I think some of the servos are probably the stock servos, and they sound a little bit crunchy. So I'm just gonna make sure that I'll fly this thing, and I'll also make sure that the servos are gonna be okay. So looks like Riff had the brake set up on this motor here, so that's pretty sweet. I can't wait to fly this thing. It should be pretty fun. Anyway, look for me up at Kite Hill. Thanks, guys. Bye.